Hello friends, welcome to The Scoop. The world knows China for mainly two things: spreading the deadly virus and its fake cheap Chinese products. But now it has started making fake Buddhist Dalai Lama too. However, the United States has strongly opposed the Chinese government's intervention in choosing the Dalai Lama in Tibet. The US Parliament has also passed a new law supporting the religious freedom of Tibet, which affirms the Tibetan Buddhist community's rights in selecting and venerating its own religion leader, including Dalai Lama. This new law clearly states that since Buddhism is also practiced in countries like India, Nepal, Bhutan, and Mongolia, it imposes sanctions on Chinese officials who interfere in the selection of Dalai Lama's holiness. The law also speaks on tradition of choosing the new Dalai Lama. In spite of this, the People's Republic of China, that is PRC, government hinders it. However, the bill was introduced in the US Parliament earlier in 2020, but was passed lately. Now let us understand who these Dalai Lamas are, what is the process of their election, and why China is so anxious in choosing its puppet Dalai Lama itself while keeping the Tibetan tradition at bay. In Tibet, the Dalai Lama is considered the greatest religious teacher of Buddhism and is chosen under a tradition. After the occupation of Tibet, China's communist government wants to choose the Panchen Lama and the Dalai Lama on their own. On the one hand, Buddhism followers see the Dalai Lama as a metaphor and a symbol of compassion. On the other hand, his supporters also see him as their leader. The Dalai Lama is mainly seen as a teacher and perceived as the ocean of wisdom. Lama means guru. Lama inspires his people to follow the right path. The leader of Tibetan Buddhism guides all Buddhists around the world. For example, you can also identify Lama as a Buddhist saint. The question is, when Lord Buddha was born and received nirvana here, as then, why his successors are made in Tibet? Let's know the interesting story behind it. Since 1630, during unification of Tibet, the Buddhists and Tibetan leadership are struggling for power in Manchu, Mongol, and Oirat. Eventually, the fifth Dalai Lama managed to unite Tibet. With this, Tibet emerged as culturally rich. With the unification of Tibet, there occurred prosperity in Buddhism. The 13th Dalai Lama declared Tibet independent in 1912, and the jet-lagged Buddhists recognized the 14th Dalai Lama after about 40 years. The Chinese army invaded Tibet. This invasion of China happened when the process of selecting the 14th Dalai Lama was going on there. Tibet faced defeat in this battle. After some years, the people of Tibet revolted against Chinese rule. They started demanding their sovereignty. However, Tibetans never won in this. Now his religious leader, Dalai Lama, felt that he would be badly trapped in the Chinese clutches. During this time, he turned towards India. A large number of Tibetans also came to India with their religious leader Dalai Lama. In 1959, China did not like to find shelter for Dalai Lama in India. At that time, Mao Zedong ruled China. Tensions between the Dalai Lama and China's communist regime increased. The Dalai Lama received sympathy from all over the world, but he was leading a life of exile till last. Now, since his demise, the election of the successor of Tenzin Gyatso, that is the Dalai Lama, is certain to happen so that the Tibetans can get their own religious leader or the flag bearer of the independence of Tibet, which is why the Chinese government itself would have said, is an atheist but is sitting tightly in the election of Lama. China wants to elect the Dalai Lama in its own way. If one reason is given, then it comes out that the present Dalai Lama has been campaigning to liberate Tibet from China for the last several decades. If the successor would have chosen by the Dalai Lama himself, he too will run a campaign for independent Tibet. China does not want this. This is why he wants to make someone on his behalf the heir of the Dalai Lama, so that he remains under the influence of China and acts as the puppet of Chinese authorities. Naturally, this will undermine the freedom movement in Tibet. The present Dalai Lama took refuge in India when he was only 23 years old. Since then, he has been living in Dharamshala in Himachal Pradesh. In an attempt to catch him here, China angrily kidnapped his successor Panchen Lama about 25 years ago, and since then there is no clue of the Panchen Lama. It is believed that China has kept him as a political prisoner. In the year 1995, Gedhun was recognized as the 11th Panchen Lama. That is, then 6-year-old Gedhun had become the second most powerful person in Tibet after the Dalai Lama. After 3 days, Gedhun suddenly disappeared. Since then, human rights activists have been demanding the release of Gedhun as the youngest political prisoner for the last 25 years. It may be that the Gedhun Panchen Lama is alive, and it may be that he is not. But it gives a valid backdrop behind the demand of China to choose its fake Lama. According to a very interesting belief among Tibetans, whenever a Dalai Lama dies, he is born again on earth in a new form. After this, the religious authorities search for the child, and then after he is appointed as the next Dalai Lama. But now the Dalai Lama is discovered is also a very interesting anecdote. The first thing in this that no one chooses the Dalai Lama, but he is searched for. According to Tibetan belief, his Dalai Lama remains the same. His form changes with time only because the Dalai Lama's selection is based on the belief of rebirth. Therefore, after the death of existing Dalai Lama, the responsibilities of searching for a new Lama remains of the High Lamas and the government of Tibet, according to Gelugpa tradition. However, this search may take many years. It took 4 years to find Tenzin Gyatso, the 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet. This discovery begins with the vision and dream of the High Lamas. Only then, this further search is started. According to another practice, when the previous Dalai Lama is burnt after his death, the smoke emanating from his funeral pyre is noted. According to him, this smoke indicates the rebirth of the Lama. High Lamas often meditate near the sacred river Lhasa in central Tibet. During their search process, they, while meditating there, wait for the next sign. It is said that this shows them in which direction to move forward. There is a perception of Tibetan people behind this kind of meditation in the river. According to them, the Holy Spirit of this holy river had pledged to the first Dalai Lama that this will always help him in finding the descendants. Thank you.